Okay, guys, well, let me kind of give you an update on what happened there at the Spectrum store. Okay, so what happened was, let me kind of give you a background first, right? All right, so in my main house, I wanted to have internet, obviously, and I have Ethernet run to all the rooms because I went into my attic. I ran my own Cat 6 to all the rooms, and I have a wireless router I have a Netgear in the house. It's my own wireless router. I have it mounted up high in the garage, and I needed a modem, right? Well, the modems that at the time, I believe it was still Time Warner, it wasn't called Spectrum yet. Their modems, they kind of sucked. They weren't very good. So I decided I wanted to buy my own modem, which is a little bit higher quality, which is the same brand that they use, but a higher quality one, and was more than fast enough to handle all the speeds that I wanted to go to, right? So I bought a modem off of Amazon, and I tried to activate it, and I knew that I could activate it with them. But what I had to do is I had to give them the unique identifier, which is called the MAC address. So I gave them the MAC address, and they put it in the system. And once they put it in the system, then they can activate it. So basically, what it was I had an activated modem that belonged to me through Time Warner. Then it became Spectrum, and it was the same modem. It was still the same modem. Um, Everything worked fine. Now, when I built this studio that I'm recording this in right now, I decided I wanted actual internet out here as well. Instead of running a Cat 6 or a Cat 7 Ethernet cable out here, I said, I'm just going to go with the whole modem. So I called up Spectrum in February. I called them February of 2022, and I said, "Hey guys, can you put a new modem in here, which would be two modems, one owned by me and then one owned by them." So they went ahead and put in a modem here, and it was. I also had telephone on it, so you could call me here at the studio while I'm recording or if I'm going live, and everything worked fine. So I had internet out here and I had internet in there, and it was 200 megabits per second, which is pretty decent speed. But since I was paying for two, and Google Fiber was put into my neighborhood, and they're running a special program at least for new customers, to acquire new customers, they gave me a really good deal, which would and this was not something that I was terribly interested in at the time, which would give me an extreme amount of speed compared to what I had with Spectrum. But the big deal was it would save me money compared to what I was paying with Spectrum. That was the big deal. I wanted to save money. The speed is just pure huge bonus, right? So I went ahead and said I'll give you guys a try to see if I like it. So they installed a modem, and then I actually did run Cat 7 from that modem out here to the studio. And well, you see the speeds. I'm about 200 or about 2,000 per second, or 2 gig per second around that area, as opposed to 200 megabits per second, which was this is 10 times faster than the Spectrum was, right? Huge difference. But the main difference for me is I'm saving a lot of money. Well, okay, now that you got all that background out, okay, I went to the store with the modem when I went to return the modem to Spectrum to be done with them, right? Well, I took the modem. Apparently, I took my owned modem, my modem. I didn't take their modem. I took my modem there. Wasn't paying attention. I guess it's my fault. My bad. There's no question. So I took my modem there, and I explained to the kid, kind of like I did to you guys earlier, that I had my own modem plus I had their modem, and I'm now turning in their modem and canceling service. He said, "Not a problem. I see both modems here. One's customer owned." Boop boop. He scanned it and he said, "Okay, we're done now. You don't owe us anything anymore. We're done, except for this last bill, which was, I think, 7 days into the month or something." Right? I said, "Okay, cool, no problem." So I paid that last bill, and that's it. I was done, right? Well, that was about a month and a half ago. So I called Spectrum, and Spectrum said, because I got another bill. My wife said, "You got another bill." So I called Spectrum, and they said, "Well, you owe us $60 for that modem." Like, well, no, I turned in the modem. Well, apparently That's when I found out I didn't turn in Spectrum's modem. I turned in my modem, right? So they're not going to give me my modem back. It's somewhere lost in a warehouse somewhere, right? So not wanting to get into conflict, I figured I'll just return their modem. So I go to return their modem, and the kid behind the counter, this is a different kid from the first time, starts giving me crap. He said, okay, I can return the modem, but I can't give you anything that says you don't owe us anything anymore. I'm sorry, I can't do it. So why can't you do it? I want a piece of paper, not necessarily in the word says you don't owe us anything, but I want a piece of paper stating that I owe 00000. I don't owe a monthly fee because I haven't had it. I haven't had activation. I don't owe for equipment. I don't owe any back bills. I don't owe anything. This is what I wanted from the kid. Just a ledger says 00000. I owe nothing, right? He said, I'm not going to do that. I said, why aren't you going to do it? Because that's not what we do. What we do is we give you the receipt for the equipment you gave in. I said, well, that's not good enough. I need that. And he said, well, that's not going to happen. So I grabbed the modem and I grabbed the power source. I said, I'm going to sit down right here. Call me when your supervisor is available, right? So I sat down there for about 20 minutes. I don't think they told the supervisor I was waiting for him until I'd probably only been waiting 10 minutes just to kind of piss me off. Now, as I started walking away, I heard not the kid I was talking to, but the kid next to him who had heard the conversation said, put that modem back on his account, right? Blah, 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 right? Just trying to piss me off. Again, twice they're trying to piss me off, right? So after about 20 minutes of waiting, maybe 25 minutes of waiting, I go to the supervisor. You can tell he's the supervisor. He's a little bit older than these kids. These kids are about 16, 17. He's probably about 29, 30. So I go to him. I said, you are the supervisor, right? He goes, yes. I said, did they tell you I was waiting? Yes. I said, how long did they tell you I was waiting? Oh, about 5 minutes ago. Again, I've been waiting about 25 minutes, right? 20, 25 minutes. I'm like, okay, third thing trying to piss me off, right? So I was like, okay. So I explained to him the situation. He handled the situation right there. He said, not a problem. I'll give you a printout of everything that I'm seeing here on my screen that says you owe no equipment, you owe no monthly fee, nothing. Everything's zero on it. I said, okay, and of course I saved it for my records. I gotta save this for my records. Make sure that y'all don't come back later and say something. Now, as it is, once again, I've lost my customer owned modem. I bought it. It's not a $40 modem. It was like a $200, 200 some odd dollar modem I bought from Amazon. Not a big deal because I can't use that modem with Google anyway, and I think Google is probably a little bit better. Not only is it better in speed, that's not the question, but I think it's probably a little bit better simply because I haven't had any dropouts yet. Now, if I lose electricity at the house or over here in the studio, actually, if I lose it in the studio, it's going to shut down my computer. But if I lose electricity in the house, then obviously I'm going to drop out with Google. But other than that, I've had no dropouts so far. No dropouts at all. With Spectrum or Time Warner, before that, it was Paragon. I did have the occasional just dropout and just lose connection, period, right? I haven't had that problem with Google. I don't know if it's because they're just much better. It's because it's fiber optic all the way to the modem to the house. I'm actually getting fiber optic to the house, or it's because there's not as many customers on it in San Antonio because they're still fairly new, I guess. I don't know. But either way, I'm sticking with them over Spectrum for two reasons. One, because they gave me a hell of a lot better price at what I'm getting, and two, because, well, Spectrum's kind of pissed me off already. Like I said, three times that kid tried to piss me off, and, so they're just not people I want to deal with anymore. Now, I used to work for them back when they were known as Time Warner, which is about 2 weeks after they changed from the name Paragon to Time Warner. I worked for them for several years. So I know the internals of how they do stuff. A lot of politics, kind of like a police department. A lot of politics. It's not so much about servicing the customer. It's more about politics, looking good, right? So, but anyway, that's kind of what was the problem here is that I was having. I figured that they were going to give me the runaround, and I was going to slam them, blah 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 blah. But what happened was the manager or the supervisor there at that store at that location was real helpful, real nice. I hope I don't have any more problems. I think he did a great job. So I was gonna slam him, talk crap about him, but I can't. The guy was really good. So remember, if I can save you a few bucks, I'm gonna do my best to save you a few bucks.